Hey, you, listener. Hey, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Ah, what? You don't respect your mother? You don't respect your mother? Listen, okay, listen. I'm sorry. Okay. Are you a musician? Are you in a band? I want to hear your music. I want to know what you're doing, when your concert's at, when's your new EP dropping. I want to hear it, okay? I want you to, send me all that stuff. Tag me in your Instagram stories. Email me at tampatalkwithmary@gmail.com. I would love to feature you on this podcast. Send me your info. Drop me a line. And then we could play a little bit of your song on the show. We could drop your info in the description. People go follow you. And then you become all big and famous doing the music and everything. Yeah, send it my way. Send it to me, tampatalkwithmary@gmail.com. DM me on Instagram, tampatalkwmary. Send me your Bandcamp, your SoundCloud, your Spotify, your YouTube, whatever it is. I want to hear it. And maybe you'll be on the next episode of Tampa Talk with Mary. Send it my way. Bye-bye. Get all that yelling shit out now. Fucking. God. Well, hi. Welcome to Tampa Talk with Mary. Welcome to the show that only airs once a month. Quick story. My period, as per usual, sucked ass. It was just emotionally terrible all the way around. But in particular, acne, as you may know, since you have a wife, is, and you know a woman, at least one.
I have two, actually.
Oh.
I know two women.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, right? I'm moving up in the world.
That's so cool.
It's my wife and me on Sundays.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm like a werewolf.
Oh, okay. Do you have a different... Are you still Adrian when you're female on Sunday? Oh. Okay, sick. Word?
That's it. That's the end of that bit.
Oh, that was great.
I'm a weird bitch.
I'm a weird bitch. You can't catch me. So acne is very common in periods. I don't get it on my face. I get it on my crotch. So
fun.
Yeah. So my pussy do look like Carl Weezer's face. Like fucking like and I'm like, oh god.
Your pussy sound like I want a llama.
like literally like I don't feel like I should be like popping zits like while I'm on the can. Like that doesn't feel right. Like I'm already shitting my brains out, and I'm already like chunks of blood coming out of me, and then fucking Carl Weezer's face on my.
What is Carl Weezer? I don't think.
Does he?
I feel like he didn't have acne. He was just fat. And I think like the way he was modeled, his face looked like a giant zit already. So
maybe that's what I couldn't think of like a character that had like enough acne. Wasn't there a kid on like Fairly Odd Parents that had like a big one big zit?
Dude, that was Elmer. I know his name because in like 4th grade I had a huge zit on my face and they called me Elmer.
That's so mean.
It was mean, but it was funny as shit. Like, I wasn't even mad, because I think I pitched the joke, but I don't even know.
If you make fun of yourself before everybody else can make fun of you, then everyone stops making fun of you. So you sell them the pitch of,
Yeah.
But that just makes you depressed. But we never introduced you.
Oh.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
So we've brought Adrian on the podcast before. He's been on a few episodes. Anytime I want to talk about Gwyneth Paltrow, like, he's my boy, I gotta bring him on to, like, talk about some white women fucking up some shit.
I'm a connoisseur of vaginal candles.
You also were on the podcast when it was just a video live stream on Twitter that I was doing, and we did period quizzes between you and Preston, and then Claire and I were giving the answers.
Yes. And then I got kneed in the junk on.
You took it in the nuts for me, and that is a price I cannot repay. And
it's all good.
I've
done it for less.
That's a friend, you were on that episode. Fast food tier list, you were on that one.
I'm sorry.
That was you, me, Preston. That was tight.
I feel like I just appear.
like you're a blip in the street.
In the Tampon Talk lore, in the Tampon Talk cinematic universe, I'm a fucking Stan Lee cameo. But
you are wonderful. I'm gonna
toot your horn a little bit. Very successful, I would argue. I think that you... Don't, what are you doing?
Not true.
Oh my god. No, he's very successful. I don't know if I can talk about the games
you can talk. You can mention the games I've been on.
Yeah, so you've been on the Call of Duty games, you worked on those, and we've talked about our college, our college where we met on here, and how fucking shit it is.
Fuck that college.
Fuck that college. If you get nothing out of this podcast, get period equality and fuck Jake Catholic. That message is so fucking hammered home, it's ridiculous. But we met there, and like the key to this school is that when you leave, you actually become more successful. Like when you get kicked out, you become successful. So Adrian has worked on these video games that have grossed over tons and tons of money. I have learned billions of dollars. I learned I have like and unions we need for gaming people. And I've learned so much about the video game industry. Like I feel like I've been so ignorant. But
I don't feel bad about the ignorance part. The game dev is such an obscure thing to everyone that doesn't do it.
Yeah.
It's like it hasn't reached, because it's been, 40 years? 30, 40 years at most, and it's been in mainstream for when did Mario come out? 1985?
Yeah.
And even then, I'm gonna go back and do this. At one point during construction of even the arcade machines that you would see, they would hire bikers and do coke and pay them in cocaine to build all these things.
What?
Yes. You can look it up. I'm not going to name the company, but you can look it up just bikers, cocaine, game dev if you have any interest in this.
That's insane.
Yeah, there's so much crazy shit that went on during that Wild West era that it's barely now. It's hey, maybe we should not.
Because there's different. I feel like there's crazy shit happening now, but it's a different type of crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
A disrespect to human life. That kind of
more bureaucratic sort of ordeal, if you will.
But I can't do justice to, I don't know if you give us a little background on the work that you've done. You specifically like modeling, though. Yes, that's what you want to do.
Predominantly right now, I've done a lot of environment modeling. I recently did a series throughout all of October, well, at least 2 weeks of October, of just doing horror scenes from film. I never got to finish 3 of them, just because I had a bad brain, couple of weeks.
Yeah. Which
sucked, because they're all 3/4 of the way done. And so I might just do it all next year and get more clout.
Yeah.
But yeah, I predominantly do environment modeling. I make stuff that people kind of look over and they see in the world just to make it actually feel like that.
Very cool.
But when I was working on Call of Duty, I predominantly did testing. I did a lot of working with the developers to make sure it worked and make sure we're able to get it out for production.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of it, I was able to help some of the environment art team. And then I left, for lack of a better term, because I wanted to focus more on getting into that art section. And I knew I needed to take time off to at least get to that point, which I'm almost there at, I like to think.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, no, I'll drop it in the description, but you post all the time of all this different modeling stuff they do, and it's interesting to see especially because I know nothing about it, is that to see the first stuff you started sharing or posting, even just not publicly but with us, and then the stuff that you post now, how different it is, and how much you've grown from then to now is whoa,
even in the span of the last 6. When did pandemic start? March?
I think she'd be real heavy in March. I think officially here January.
Yeah. So around February till now, I've definitely gone a lot better, which is super comforting to know that I'm not as big of an idiot as I think I am.
No, you're definitely not.
But,
Yeah.
It's a comforting thought.
No, and we've talked about it off air before, but just I want to be able to kind of talk about women and people people of color, people that are not white in the video game industry. and just like the challenges that y'all face or like women face like now with that. And I think you are the closest thing I am to that resource. So I don't know if this is a little off tangent, but if you could sort of just give us a picture of just what are some of you talked about some of the pros of like the work that you've done, but what are some of the cons that came from
okay, so a lot of especially with even, I'm not even going to say just women. There's two kind of sides to it. There's like the product of the game and then the work behind it. There's the development and the actual game.
Gotcha.
But like even, not to go too deep into it, but even with certain games, I'm going to use Last of Us 2 and even the last 3 Assassin's Creed games. All of them have had a very strong female representation because Last of Us 2, there's Ellie and Abby. Yeah. And then a lot of fucking random gamer dude bros got mad because Abby's so jacked. And it's like, how fucking fragile is your ego?
Sure, yeah.
And even before that, a lot of, like, I don't know if it's stock market people, but the guys that say, according to the charts, they say female protagonists can't lead games. It's been such a, because even if you look back in the history, it's always guys doing it. It's like, you have Mario, Luigi, Link, and all this stuff. And even stereotypical...
Cooking Mama?
Cooking Mama? Best video game character. She taught me how to cook.
Yeah. Female protagonists? Anyway.
But even the stereotype of masculine dudes with tattoos with guns in games. That's the stereotype that a lot of gamers like to see themselves as because you're selling a fantasy.
Right.
But with the last 2 Assassin's Creed games, I'm not sure the development about the most recent one because it hasn't been known yet.
Yeah.
But the stories for that game were actually originally written for women as a female protagonist. Oh. But last minute they were shelved. And Origins was switched to the husband instead of the wife.
Oh, what?
And Assassin's Creed Odyssey, like any person here that's played it, you will see that the female storyline, because you could choose either male or female,
right?
The female storyline is actually like in depth. There's an actual character there, and the dude is just bland. It's because everything was written for the female character, but it's only the dude that's the poster child.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Valhalla. And there's a bunch of... And to keep on the Ubisoft train, I don't know if I'm going to get killed for this. I doubt I will, because it's all over social media or whatever. But there's been a lot of, like... I don't know if I guess it is the Me Too movement of saying, like, these high-ranking CEOs and, like, directors are actual pieces of shit and, like, harassing female developers. And there's a bunch of female developers I know that I'd rather have you ask them because I don't want to tell their story, and I'll send you their contact, or I'll ask them permission first.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Because
they're so much more well-versed in this whole harassment shit, because I'm a 6-foot brown dude. The most I get is being called a slur here and there.
But that doesn't negate the fact that you experience oppression as well.
Yeah, but luckily in the game dev world, a lot of minorities are speaking out. Like, there's a lot of Latinx game group coming up. There's a bunch of Asians, and like it's just a very... Everyone's kind of taking empowerment for themselves because of all the random shenanigans going on. It's like, hey, we should all stick together because we all want this goal.
Right.
Which is really cool, and I love it.
Yeah. That
everyone's taking initiative. But I'll definitely have to send you all those.
Yes, please do.
All their contact info, because
that'd be tight.
They have stories that they shared on social media and just like to me privately that's just fucking cringy. Because I'll just mention one quickly. Like, she was working and then a dude literally went up behind her and smelled her hair.
What?
Like, and just like weird shit like that. And then she's like, and he was like, I love the color of your hair, and like some like creepy shit like that. It's like some Rudy Giuliani shit going on. And I'm like, I feel like, I don't know if like it's this weird machismo bullshit that guys need to be like, oh, I need to get all the women in the room to fall in love with me or whatever. But it's like, I don't get it. I've never gotten it for the life of me. But because I got bullied a lot, and I'm like, hey, I shouldn't do that. Or maybe I just learned because I was raised by my grandmother, and it's like, hey, don't treat people like shit. Is that should be no?
It's just a lot of people. I mean, I guess you can't really say like particularly what it is besides being rich, white, and male, but just like. And growing up without consequences, I feel like. And then, feeling like the world operates within your worldview. Yeah. And nothing else.
It's like the world owes you something.
Yeah. And it's like, but what do they owe you? What do you not have already? I don't understand.
And it's like, and it's not even just like rich white dudes. It's just some dude. Like, even it's just guys sometimes. Yeah. And hell, even some women.
I agree. Yeah.
Even though they're more rare, at least from my experience, or maybe I'm just ugly, but I'm not pretty enough to get harassed. What? But it's just this rare occurrence, and I don't get it. It's why do people have this ego about them? There's no reason to do that.
It's taught, like these ideas, like just the sexism, the racism, like it's all taught. Like children do not innately know this, and I've worked with like a lot of kids, and even the acting industry, like and all this stuff. Like we are taught this by our parents before us, and it's I don't know if it necessarily is an evil that will ever go away, but I like that there are say people like people like you, like people don't acknowledge that, like, and I think that's fantastic. In the same way that people don't acknowledge that white feminists, i.e. me, are fucking terrible sometimes. They're also fucking racist as shit. Like, fucking Lena Dunham, I'm gonna add her right now. Girl, you are not helping the movement. You are...
Call her out.
Baby, we saw what you did in the Me Too movement. You came out for your writer that sexually abused somebody instead of the woman first, and that shows. Your white feminism shows. And all feminism should be intersectional feminism, point blank, period. I don't know why. It's fucking white women. It's their fault. There's this separation, but having that introspection, I feel like people don't do it.
I forgot which comedian it was that brought up, like, saying that, like, I don't know how, but the Black Lives Matter movement got intercepted by white women.
Oh my
like for some random reason. Well, and made it about themselves.
And I didn't get to fully talk about it on here, but Goop did that. So they first did it, which I got to mention on here, with the pandemic. So they used the pandemic as a money-making opportunity to sell health and wellness products on their fucking website.
By the way, her vagina candle didn't smell like a vagina. I'm going to just say it right now. I'm going to break that mystique.
I smelled it, bro.
I smelled it, and I smelled her pussy in real life.
It didn't even smell like it. But fucking, so they used the coronavirus pandemic to first profit themselves. Be like, we have this. And then Gwyneth Paltrow to be like, we believe in science. With she did this video series where she was inviting health, quote unquote, health professionals to interview and talk about what's good for your body and blah blah blah. And then in fact when the Black Lives Matter movement stuff was happening, they were like, we think that black people should be loved and accepted. Here are the two black people that work here. We had them write a story about what it's like to be black. And then they were like, here's organizations that you can donate to. And I was like, Gwyneth Paltrow, you have a company. You're rich as shit. You should donate.
Lead by example, sweetie.
Oh my God. I cannot stand her. That is white feminism at its finest, and I am so sorry to everyone that had to witness that. I am so sorry for anyone that's alive. I do apologize.
Hey, 2020 has been a wild ride, man. But hey, today...
Oh my gosh, yes, and speaking of, so we were talking about doing this episode, right? Adrian comes to me and he was like, we gotta talk about this. We gotta talk about Borat 2. We saw it together. He was like, I'm gonna make a case that this is a feminist movie, which I 100% agree with.
It is a very feminist film.
And Sacha Baron Cohen is feminist as shit, and I love that. And we wanted to do a deep dive into it. We were going to record this episode at time of recording last week, which was Halloween. But we did not know who the president was going to be, and elections were coming up on Tuesday, and we didn't know who the president was going to be until today. It took a whole week.
Shout out to Nevada.
Yo, shout out to my girl Nevada. She be out here trying her best.
Stay 50th in education for a reason.
Oh my god. But yeah, so we are now talking in the first day of a Biden-Harris presidency in the United States. I know we have international listeners, but you know, we a few episodes ago, you may already know, has had an organization, Lily Pads in Canada, were on the show, and they were like, we are so sorry for you guys. They're so sweet.
Yeah.
Listen, and Tampa Talk is not political, okay? We understand. Yeah, anybody with different views can come on the show. Let me make this abundantly clear. But we are feminists first and foremost. And we've had Republicans on here. We had fucking, you know, we've had all these other Republicans on here. We have Republican points of view. But conservative views are like small government and like guns rights. Conservative views are not wrong information about a Democratic election. Sorry, don't at me.
Like, so I consider myself bipartisan. I like to see both sides of the political spectrum because there are certain issues that I believe can and should be talked over because there's no way it should be allowed. And it gets
and the
weird.
world doesn't operate within one political party.
Yeah, extremities just lead to more extremity, and it just it's just bullshit.
Yeah.
But what I'm not gonna say his name. What Cheeto Man represented
Cheeto Man.
What he represented had nothing to do with actual republicanism.
I fully agree.
Or even conservatism. Because even if you look at Bush Sr., who's kind of a piece of shit, if you look at McCain, despite all the shit he did against Mexican immigrants and all that stuff, what he represented from the conservative and Republican Party is so far removed from what Trump stated.
Agreed.
Oh, fuck, I just said his name. Believe it.
I'll believe it.
What he represented, it was more of just him. It was entirely just him.
Yeah.
And him crying over voters fraud. And people that can't believe that maybe it's like, hey, it's either a fake election. No, a lot of people just think he's a piece of shit.
Is that so radical to believe that he's just a shitty person?
It should be. But people are willing to believe in this fantasy that he is some pedophile slayer or some bullshit. Because let's face it, I'm gonna add a lot of people, but their lives aren't important enough or interesting enough to actually make something of value that they have to believe something so radical.
Yeah. Just
to think they're right.
Yeah. And then say that this is what America is.
Exactly.
Not your America. This is what America is.
Exactly. And even if you look at population, like these people from the...
All walks of life.
All walks of life.
Yeah.
There are different people, and there are beautiful people in the middle of America that I've met.
Yeah.
And they believe complete opposite political things, but you know what? They don't like him.
Yeah.
Because it's like, they're being bastardized by this guy.
And it's like, I have a lot of respect on most things, not all, but for the governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan.
Yeah.
He wasn't in politics. He approached it the same way as Donald Trump. He was a businessman. His father was in politics. Mm-hmm. He's a Republican governor of a blue state. Yeah. And he was one of the first people to condemn Donald Trump and say, I am not voting for you. Yeah. He did make the choice of writing his father's name, his dead father's name, on the ballot. So a lot of people did.
What?
They got mad about that. I understand. But I will commend him and say that he was a Republican that came out and condemned Donald Trump. Yeah. And that's the other thing, too, is that a lot of them are not doing that. Or even, you remember when we used to make fun of Mitt Romney? You remember how fun that was?
Dude,
Mormons and jeans.
I miss it was just Mormons and dad jeans.
That guy came out against Donald Trump. And the same guy marched with Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
That's insane to me.
Even George W. Bush, one of the presidents I despise with a passion, and fueled my punk energy throughout all my adolescence.
Yeah.
he went up against Donald Trump.
And the chairman of the RNC came out and was like, all these claims that Donald Trump is making is not what we think is happening necessarily.
Yeah.
Even Fox News abandoned Donald Trump. And it's like, what are you left with?
I'm going to give one more extremity, and I'm going to give him the piece of the broken clock is right twice a day. Mr. Shapiro, Mr. WAP, Mr. Wet ass P word, motherfucker, bashed him. I'm going to use his terminology. Bashed him for claiming he won the presidency when nothing was counted. And there was nothing more shameful than a child just saying he won when he has nowhere or any right to say, especially when it comes to leading a country.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
He only said he was going to accept the election if he won.
Yeah.
And
that's a child.
As a child. And do not confuse that with being a conservative. They're absolutely not the same thing. And it's okay to say he's wrong. And listen, people on the other side, the other thing too is everybody's like, oh, you're obsessed with Joe Biden. And it's like, he's just enough. It's okay to just say he's enough. No, you know what I mean? Like I don't love his old man drip. Like I'm not here for
He's a vanilla ice cream of people.
It's fine.
He's not French vanilla.
He's your grandpa that's taking you down to the drugstore to get you an ice cream after school. Yeah. Like, and that's fine. He's just not Donald Trump. Yeah. Like I'm not obsessed with him. He's not my guy. But in this moment in history, we have a female vice president. Yeah, and that's remarkable.
That's insane. Do you think of the fact that
and it wasn't a white woman first?
It's a female African American vice president.
That's amazing.
That's fucking phenomenal. I saw a thing it was on Twitter today. I think it was
took 238 years or whatever to get here.
It was like Vox, and it's like vice presidents throughout the years or whatever, and it's just an emoji of white guys and then one African American woman, and I'm like, that is fucking amazing. Yeah. That is how far we've come, and we still have a lot farther to go.
Agreed.
Also, you ever think of how young the United States is?
Oh my god.
Compared to the rest of the fucking world?
But
like, holy shit.
Holy shit. But just, wow. To be in this moment. And
I'm calling it right now, AOC, first female president.
Could you imagine?
Dude, I'm gonna call it right fucking now.
Ooh.
At the rate she's going... Woo.
Mamacita.
She's popping off, man. I'm so...
You know what I'm saying?
Queen shit.
And sort of bringing us back when we were talking about politics, and that only today we found out who the president was. Yeah. We watched Borat 2 together. It is a feminist movie.
100%.
100%. I would love if first this is spoilers. You've seen the movie, okay? I'm not gonna give you the spoiler alert. You've seen it, okay?
And if you haven't, what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?
Because even if you don't like the political agenda, it's
just so funny.
It's a fantastic film. Even though I don't think it's Baron Conan's best film, I'd argue it's Bruno. Yeah. To the day I die. Dude, Bruno is a masterpiece.
I do love Bruno. Yeah.
But Borat 2 is... I need to see how it ages, because I don't know if I just loved it because it came out in the perfect time.
Felt good in the moment, yeah.
But Borat 2 is such a good... I don't want to say like a cover-up, but it's a good bait and switch for a feminist film. Yeah. Because yes, you still have the foreign man here funny appeal. Yeah. And by the way, apparently people didn't know the first film was political.
Huh?
I've seen so many people, a lot of people I've talked to, and a lot of people I've seen on the internet didn't know, like, they're like, oh, Borat 2 is too political. I'm like, did you completely miss the first film?
Hold on a minute.
Where they had a rodeo director say, hey, we should lynch gay people to go blah, 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 blah.
Or just, do you know Sacha Baron Cohen, like, in general?
Exactly.
Like, bro, we can't.
It's so dumb.
You can't break through that wall. It's stupid.
Well, like, this whole idea of, it's like, yeah, Borat 2 is coming back to America, haha, it's funny and different. But it drags you into actually caring for the daughter, because the daughter was raised in this very male-sided society. Yeah. And it's like, hey, you can actually do whatever you want. You don't have to look up to Miss Melania Trump, even though her name is Melania.
Melania Trump.
It is Melania. And then you have that entire scene with the fertility dance.
Oh my god. When this happened, and Adrian can attest to this, I literally stood up and clapped.
I've never seen her look so excited for
I was so excited.
a film scene just encapsulate Mary as a person.
I wanted to dance into such a Barracuda and get my motherfucking period next
But it's
day.
like, it brings up a lot of these issues that women grow up with. And it's, even with the over-the-top idea of masturbation, being like, oh, you're gonna get sucked into your own body and condemned into a black hole and stuff forever. Like, it's weird obscenities like that. And it's like, no, you should feel free to understand your body and how it works. Right. It's not God punishing you every month. It's just, it's life. You're a person.
Yeah.
And the nanny character. The nanny character, she's the smartest character in the film.
I loved her. Yeah.
And
something like a GoFundMe for her during the pandemic, I feel like.
We can double check. I'm not entirely sure offhand. I didn't know that existed, but that's amazing.
Her business or whatever was struggling, and I think a bunch of people like made a GoFundMe to like for her, and then Sasha like donated a ton of money.
Oh, that's fucking amazing.
I'm pretty sure.
Dude, that's awesome.
Anyway, to your point.
But I forgot the entire speech in the car, but like where she's like, your daddy may be the smartest person in the world to you, and I can't change that, but you need to understand these things first. And it's like, that is such a powerful statement to a lot of women out there that that grow up in butt-fuck nowhere and
They don't know.
A lot of these things, no. And she grew up to be like this crazy reporter person and brought quote-unquote feminism to Kazakhstan. And don't even get me started on the harassment scene at the finale with the fucking Giuliani character.
I was literally screaming the entire time it was happening.
For those of you that don't know, there's this build-up throughout it of Borat giving his daughter to Mike Pence, or Donald Trump, then Mike Pence, and those don't work out.
Yeah.
And I think she runs away because she learns about what she is as a person or whatever. Yeah. That she's actually a person. He doesn't get it. He thinks the Holocaust is a lie at one point, which is... he goes into a synagogue dressed as a Jew stereotype. That's so fucked. But wholesome... By the way, you notice every woman in here is the smartest character? Yeah. Like, you have the nanny, the
women in the synagogue.
The fucking Holocaust survivors. Yeah. The Holocaust female women. That touched my heart, and they ate, like, matzo ball soup or whatever, and it was like... But, like, they're eating soup, and then it's just this wholesome moment. Yeah. And it's like, all the women in the show are the smart ones. Yeah. And then, as it carries on towards the end, she becomes a reporter for, what was it? It was like Liberty News or some shit.
Some sort of fake news network that they made up.
Literal fake news.
Yeah.
And they get an interview with Rudy Giuliani, and she's like, I don't want to say flirting with him, but like being friendly.
She's, women, we know, just being nice.
Yeah.
Just being nice.
Being nice, and Rudy Giuliani goes on this nice guy sort of appeal, and like makes these weird advances, like putting his hand on her leg, and like being more touchy-feely.
Yeah. Very obviously inappropriate for a news outlet interview.
Especially to someone in such a high state of power.
Yes.
And it builds up to this moment where Borat basically runs in to stop her, because at one point it looks like he's fiddling his diddle. Yeah. Fiddling his diddle. Yeah. And
like he is about to like whip his dick out. Yeah. Like, and that's what Sasha said in interviews about the movie, is that he ran out because he knew like it seemed like it was going to escalate.
Yeah, and the female character's 15 in this film.
Yep, she's 15.
So
that's cool.
Shout out to Barra Conan and the actress. I forget.
Maria.
She killed it.
She's so good.
She was a phenomenal actress.
Because I think I told you that her audition was actually doing what they did in the movie, like as a test run in person.
Yeah, and I don't get it. I don't know. I'm nowhere near anything. I don't know how actors and actresses do it. You guys put everything out there, and I can imagine doing it raw as an audition on the first go.
So cool.
Like, it's fucking bonkers.
Because she said that she did a self-tape, and then they asked to submit another self-tape, and then that she came out for that audition. And I can't speak to necessarily to what she did specifically, but I, at one point, to promote Midsummer Night's Dream, I went out as my character into the streets of Escondido, California.
Oh, did you?
I did. So
Who'd you play?
I played Hippolyta in the play.
Really? I really wish I watched it.
It's fine. So I played Hippolyta, and we had different character liberties because it took place like in sort of the romantic period of England, and like I was playing this character, and me and another one of the characters from the show went out. And I was interacting with people as this queen, and like in this like big dress, and I was wearing a corset. So I was like, I'm a little booby, and like but I'm a little booby. But it's like and I was like, I need to commit to this character 100%. I can't let it go, or else the bit will die. So the fun part of it is like going to interact with children. Like children love it. So I was like going up to them. And was like, I'm a Queen Hippolyta, and who are you? And then they tell me their name, and I go, oh, like Queen Veronica and King Sebastian. So nice to meet you. What kingdom do you rule? And then I came up with this whole bit, and then they'd be like, I live in Escondido, and it's like the kingdom of Escondido. Like, and they thought it was funny, and then I gave them a flower, and like their parents wanted to take pictures and stuff. It was really cute. And then at the same time, they were gross men that followed me around. So I had like 50 or 60-year-old men who kept asking me about like what I was doing later, and like what my kingdom was like, and I was in character, so I kept being like, I don't know if King Theseus would like me to mingle with a peasant male company, like still like trying to stay in character with that. Christ. And I had multiple, like while I'm talking to these kids, I had multiple men following me the whole time I was doing that, saying all these things at me and throwing all these things at me. And luckily I had my other cast member with me and traveling around, had all my other cast member like traveling around with me during this whole process. And when I got back to where we were putting out the costumes and stuff, I was like, oh my God, just so dirty and grossed out, but committed to the character the whole time. And that's just only like a minor taste of what this actress experienced. So I kind of just like got into that place again, and I was like, oh my God, and you gotta be a really, really good actor if you're gonna ride or die, like commit to this shit no matter what. And her and Sacha killed the game. They were so good. Because I only had I did it for 2.5 hours was when we were out.
God, that's a long
time. And it was just but that was like the extent I had to deal with. I could not even imagine if Ruby Giuliani was gonna fucking pull out his dick in front of me. Like, oh my God. But
bruh.
Yeah, but
I had performance anxiety just coming on here. My job is to sit in front of a computer.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine like doing this, going out and literally exposing yourself to everything. And having these creepy fucking dudes do that.
And I love what you were saying about all the female characters in his storyline.
Yeah.
And I also just love this, because I think we sort of agree on this, is that comedians tell the truth more so than anybody else, I feel like.
I'd say so. Or what's that famous quote? It's like, every joke has a hidden truth to it, or anything. And everything's a sort of commentary. Especially as of the last, 30 years. Or, I'm not even going to say 30 years. When did Pryor and Carlin started going out?
Oh, like the late 70s and early 80s.
That was the whole revolution where, commentary and, making jokes about all this stuff came out, and you're allowed to talk about it.
And even so, you have actors like Charlie Chaplin have commentary about World War II.
The great dictator.
Before it happens. Yeah. It's there are these people that work within the entertainment industry or even video game industry now that are, able to have poignant dialogue that politicians, they just miss the mark. And I love that people like Sacha Baron Cohen in this movie use tools that exist. Here's the thing. South Park had a whole episode about this, and I know you know this because it was the Comedy Awards episode. Where the reason Comedy Awards don't exist is because if you take comedy seriously
It's not funny.
It's not funny. So if you accept an award for comedy, you're taking it seriously and you're not funny, so you shouldn't have a comedy award. It's like this conundrum, and like they end up putting like Tracy Morgan like in a thing in the ground. But
no, it was Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry. Tracy Morgan. Tyler Perry, yes.
Shout out to Tracy Morgan.
Shout out to Tracy.
But it's because he kept saying that. And it was like, oh, hello. And then Token just keeps giving him money. And then Adam Sandler's in there, and he's just like, I put him in there too.
But to try to not necessarily do that, but to say that I had an acting teacher tell me that I shouldn't do stand-up while we were doing acting classes because it takes away from what we were trying to do in the acting classes, which is, be vulnerable and like be empathetic and stuff. And I was like, I completely disagree with you.
Yeah.
100% disagree. Because comedians, in order to like construct a joke well, like comedians that are actually funny, have to understand the world that they are commentating on, and then further be empathetic to the issue that they're speaking on within the context of the joke.
100%, and even just be openly vulnerable to themselves. Because even take Bo Burnham, who from the last since he blew up on YouTube, he's always had this open conundrum of what he is and like how he feels conflicted of, like, even the song Art is Dead, he's like, I wanted my name up in lights when I could have fed people for 40 fucking fortnights. Yeah. Like, just shit like that. And then him basically saying, I'm out with his last comedy special just because he felt shitty. Yeah. And he just made a movie about anxiety. Yeah. And it's like, that is such an openly depressing topic. Yeah. And it's a very common thing, even what's her name?
Who described them?
Sarah Silverman.
Yeah.
Dude.
I love Sarah Silverman.
She's amazing.
So
and like, just how open she is. And there's this documentary called, I think it's called like Laughing Helps. I'm sorry, we had I haven't eaten anything today, and I had a full whiskey sour, and I'm already feeling it. I never realized how bad of a lightweight I was until I don't drink, so I'm like, oh, Lord! Okay. But I think it's called Laughing Through the Pain or Laughing Helps, and she opens up about how the therapist that gave her Xanax hanged himself. And it's like, she took all this shit and just made it funny. It's like, that's such a common thing now. You need to be vulnerable or else...
Yeah, I mean, and this has existed since the dawn of time. I mean, acting is one of the oldest professions, like farming, parenting, all this stuff.
And prostitutes.
Prostitutes. Oldest professions. Shout out to my prostitutes. You deserve life.
We have time for an OnlyFans right now.
You might have to come back.
We'll come back.
But,
if people don't hate me, I'll come back.
They won't, I promise. You've been on multiple times. But comedy and tragedy have always coexisted. Like, they've always existed together. Yeah. And, not to be like, I'm in theater, but Shakespeare always writes them together. And Jean-Baptiste, who is the French Shakespeare, essentially, writes them the same way. He died being known for his comedies, which he hated because he was so fucking depressed. Like, he just wanted all of his stuff to be known. But I think at a time where Donald Trump existed and, like, all this crazy. We really relied on the comedic relief to kind of lead us the way. Yeah. And especially after he condemned those people, right? So Colbert or like Kimmel. And I hate Fallon, but also Fallon. Yeah. And like SNL and all these outlets that people need because comedy always keeps us in check. And Sacha Baron Cohen, I think, does this with this movie the best as anyone could have ever done to really encapsulate the evils that have happened within this administration, and did it with the comedic tools so explicitly well.
Not to get off to the feminist topic of Borat 2.
Right.
But even when he when he stayed, what was it, like 2 weeks with those gentlemen in the cabin? The
QAnon people, yeah.
Like, they're probably one of the nicest people throughout the film.
Yeah, and he said they were really nice and stuff.
Yeah, but they just happen to believe these things. Yeah. And it's like, it brings an odd sense of unity. Because it's like, we all aren't shit people. We just all kind of been manipulated by this weird us versus them mentality.
Yeah. because I was even looking at it today, is that on Trump's statement about the election and stuff and about all of his legal battles and things, there are people coming to his defense to share a link to his legal fund. So he, as someone who is wealthy, has on his website advocated for people to donate to his legal fund.
Why?
Which, here's the kicker. So when they donate to the legal fund, 50% of the funds go to reimbursement of campaign debt that he acquired while he was running for president. So he is getting vulnerable old people who believe in his message, people who will follow him into the dark, to give him money to pay off his own debt. And I found this out today.
That breaks my heart.
It's that there are
legitimately breaks
if he
my heart.
didn't kill old people with the coronavirus, if he didn't kill them at his rallies, he's going to bankrupt them and let them die because of this negligence.
And I guarantee these people are nice. Like
they're nice. They don't
gotta
know
be
better.
Nice. And it's like, but they believe in this person so much to an almost God complex.
Yeah, they do.
And it hurts. It sucks.
Yeah.
And I can only wish them better.
And bringing it back to like the feminist topic of this movie too, is that I think that is what feminism is at its core. What it's supposed to be about is equality for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's Sacha Baron Cohen on our feminist list, on our wall of praise on Tampa Talk with Mary. Sacha Baron Cohen, the first ad, so happy. Wall of shame, Ben Shapiro. Wall of praise, Sacha Baron Cohen. so happy for him.
Why are people mad about WAP?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know it's old at
no one
this
wants to
point.
talk about pussy, but you.
What's wrong with it? Pussy's great.
You telling me, baby? You telling me?
It's like,
y'all came from a pussy. Like,
we got like 500 million songs about dick. And it's like we mention pussy like all the time.
Oh my god.
It's like fuck it. Like talk about how you gonna make me come with a spaghetti.
and to bring it back to like specifically like the stuff in the movie where like your vagina has teeth, the concept in the thing,
yeah,
where she's taught by the daughter is taught by her government that her vagina has teeth, so she shouldn't touch it. And I think to further your point about like, you know, there is a liberation that comes with, you know, understanding, you know, say masturbation or your body. But when women become educated, that is the most dangerous tool for any society that is actively trying to oppress them.
It's so
you know,
dumb.
that, I mean, it's the same reason, like, not to compare Borat to Malala, but like, but literally, the Taliban shot at the time a 14-year-old in the head because she was advocating for education for women. And it's like, this movie touches on that in a similar way of just once women become educated or empowered in that way, it's dangerous to any society that doesn't want them to do it.
It's such a fucking shit show of egotism and fucking idiocy. I hate it.
Yeah.
Like,
but
I'm trying to understand my feelings on the topic because it's been bothering me for a very long time. Like, not even just from a female perspective, because my wife grew up in a very conservative household.
For sure.
And just seeing the duality of how they handle her brothers and her sisters,
yeah,
it bothers me to no fucking end. To where, why is it okay for the dude to go out and, like, get some chick, but the girl can't go out and enjoy herself either?
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
It's... Because it's an interesting point, too, of just how we tackle virginity between men and women. And I brought this up because our school, very, very religious. So I brought this up in a religion class, right? I was like, I think it's kind of weird that people are obsessed with the Virgin Mary's virginity.
Yeah. Like,
people are really obsessed with it. And I think that has fabricated a lot of American society because it comes some sort of religious roots, is that they love a woman that is both experienced and inexperienced. And I brought it up to this male professor. I was like, to Barber. Shout out to Barber. I was like, I think it's to me, it feels gross that people are obsessed with the fact that she's a virgin.
Agreed.
Because she was like 14. Like, and stuff and then was able to get to conception. And he sort of like explained it to me of like why Catholics believe this way. But I was like, I don't think this necessarily negates the fact that because this has happened in our society where, you know, what he said was dogmatic and valid and whatever, but that hasn't made an impact on American society.
Yeah.
That we're, that in this fucked up way, we're either making religious norms American norms or American norms religious norms.
We all want our child to be the perfect angel.
Yeah.
It's that whole perfect, like, instead of just understanding your cat's trying to get through the door.
Oh, puppy.
But instead of just understanding that people are people,
Yeah.
we all want to believe our kids are perfect, when in reality they're little shits. They're kids.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if your kid isn't a little shit, there's something wrong.
Right.
That's what my grandma told me. My grandma told me that when I was like 17.
Shout out to your grandma. She's
I
so
love my grandma to
wonderful.
death. But she's like, if your kid doesn't do something really dumb and you explain to them why it's dumb,
yeah.
they're just going to grow up ignorant.
Yeah. But yeah, I think let's bring us all home, because we've got a lot of stuff in here. And I don't know, if you say somebody skipped to the end of this episode, what if you could summarize about, say, just who you are and why, you know, Borat 2 is important, your feminist argument. Bring us final thoughts. Bring us home.
Well, I'm a guy that enjoys making things that people can hide their worries in, but understand what their worries are. That's always been what I've wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did when I was younger. With games, because I was raised off video games and movies, and my childhood sucked, but that's a different podcast. But that's it's what I was raised on. It's how I learned the world, and then understanding why that world is very important.
Yeah.
And that's why Borat 2, in a sense, is such a beautiful film. You take something so iconic as Borat, which everyone has made fun of and like imitated to no end, and you push this. It's somewhat blatant message, but it's a message that people need to understand.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, just understand we're all humans, and try not to be a piece of shit. I understand it's hard for a lot of people, and if you're listening to this, you're probably not.
Yeah.
But just don't be a piece of shit. Treat people the way you want to be treated. I don't consider myself a good Catholic or a good religious person, but that, out of everything, is something I took from Catholicism. It's like, treat people the way you want to be treated, because we're all humans at the end of the day.
Right. I love that. Yeah. And then where, we'll drop it in the description, but where can we see your modeling work? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram.com/NLP Campos. You can find my art station at artstation.com/Killjoy.
Cool.
And yeah, I post there whenever I can.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sick. All right. Sick. And then,
don't expect me to be a righteous person all the time, because I'm an idiot. And by the way, I figured all this out because I'm 23 and I know everything.
Can we promote your Twitter? It's very funny.
Oh, do you actually think it's funny?
I love your Twitter.
So that's my wife. Hold on, I'll look up the...
Because there's like it's me, my fiance, and Adrian that all like will share memes with each other and like, yeah, pop off on Twitter.
My Twitter is at @MLP Campos.
Spectacular. Sick.
You know it's me when you see the picture of Garfield smoking a pipe somewhere.
Okay, I don't know anything about ArtStation. Can people give you money on ArtStation?
No.
Okay.
And quite frankly, I don't want your money.
Okay.
I just want you to appreciate yourself. Listen, if you have money to give to me, give it to someone that actually needs it.
Oh,
give it to like some charity that there's cancer research, there's like feminist movements that need it, there's people in the Middle East that actually need it.
Word.
I don't need it. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Word.
I am fine.
What a such a humble guest. Oh, well, thank you for being on the show.
Of course. Thank you for having me and letting me ramble.
Yes.
And get slightly tipsy with one drink off the podcast. Jesus.
And if listeners have any thoughts to share, either about questions for you about gaming industry or anything, is that you open to that?
Yeah, feel free to @ me, DM me.
Sick.
Just mention that you heard me from the podcast, because I get a lot of random messages.
He's very popular.
No, I'm not. I was also on Floor is Lava.
Yes, he was on Floor is Lava.
I was on
watch
Netflix.
This episode.
I don't deserve it, but that's irrelevant.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's a happy ending.
I don't. But yeah, just if you're a porn bot, don't @ me. That's my rule.
All the porn bots that listen to Tampa Talk with
Get out of here.
Don't you fucking @ Adrian for a goddamn second.
Take that, Killer Girl 69.
You should follow my Snapchat, 18 or plus only. God,
I was about to get into OnlyFans, but I'm like, no, we're good.
But if you want me to be a mediator between you and Adrian, email me tampatalkwithmary@gmail.com. If you want to @ us on Instagram, we are on there. Periods Talk on Twitter, that's mine. We have a Tampa Talk Twitter, but she's seen better days. So you can go to my account, Periods Talk on there. You can @ us on Instagram, Tampa Talk Mary, and email us tampatalkwithmary. This has been spectacular. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
This is so cool. Come back anytime.
Just say when.
Oh,
Just invite me.
Yay! We see each other all the time.
We're good.
We're just a sham. This is because I am. Keep on bleeding. Maria in the movie and that fertility scene. It's okay. Get it all over the place. Get your period blood. Splatter that shit. I mean, do what you want to do.
Also, if you're a dude uncomfortable with periods and you watch porn, literally go fuck yourself. Bruh, it's the same shit.
It's the same shit.
It's the
same pussy, different day.
Yeah,
bro.
fuck you and fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off.
And even if you don't watch porn, go fuck yourself anyway.
It's really just a unifying thing. If you ain't on this period game, just fuck off.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Preach.
That's fine. Keep on bleeding. It's gonna be alright, sis. Or not, sis. And you bleed anyway, we accept everybody that menstruates. Yeah. This is always like leaving a voicemail at the end of the episode.
I feel that.
It's like,
Alright, be good people.
Alright, we will see you next time on Table Talk with Mary. Bye!
Bye.